Welcome. So now we are going to start with setting up our environment for our AI agentic course. Let's get started. So we are going to look at n8n. So what is n8n? So n8n is a tool to build AI agents. So it has a drag and drop GUI based interface. It works like a normal website. You can host it to pretty much self-hosted or on the cloud on their own SaaS platform. Now, what if you don't want to use n8n? This course is geared towards n8n. But if you don't want to use n8n, you can actually write your own Python code and in any other language, basically, and deploy it. So there are other tools out there like n8n, like make.com. So we are going to look at n8n in this course. So n8n has about two types of licenses. So it's cloud and it's self-hosted. So on the cloud licenses, it is hosted on n8n.io, which is their own platform. From n8n, it costs approximately 24 euros a month, the basic plan. It has some limitations on execution and workflows. Then we have the self-hosted version. So we are going to look at the self-hosted version. We are going to do this, and we are going to install our very own self-hosted server with n8n Community Edition. Now, in terms of the cost, it's zero cost. It's only the infrastructure costs involved. And they have a fair license policy where they state that you can use it for anything you like, except creating a similar tool like n8n. There are no real limits on workflows or execution. However, there are, like certain features which, yeah, are not available. So that's fine. It's pretty much okay. You can pretty much do majority of the stuff. So what we will set up? So we will set up an n8n server, which is going to be self-hosted on Docker container. We will set up a Docker container. That'll be our very own server. We will need a domain name for that. So you should start thinking about the domain name if you don't already have one. Then we are going to set up a system called DirectUs. So DirectUs is a headless CMS. So it's an amazing tool which we can use instead of, keying in data and saving data in Excel files or text files. We can use an interface with DirectUs, which in turn stores the data in the SQL DB, which we are also going to set up the Postgres SQL platform. So DirectUs gives us a very good interface in terms of the saving and accessing the data with built-in APIs. It's very powerful. So I understand, it can be very overwhelming if you are doing this the first time or if you're new to this. But yes, when the pieces come together in the end, you will understand much, much better, and you will, appreciate the fact that you put in the time. So hang on tight and please follow the instructions. If you ever have questions, you can always drop me a note. I look forward to helping you set up the AI agentic platform so you can build real world AI agents. So what we are going to do now is we are going to get started with our n8n server setup. So first we are going to buy our VPS from hetzner.com. So we'll head over to hetzner.com and we will go to console. We are going to register for a new account. So here it is. So you can put whatever password you want and you can get going. You have to agree to the privacy policy. And there you are. You have to look for an email for a confirmation. So here it is. I have my email with me. I am going to just copy it and paste the link to verify. And here it is. So is it an organization or personal? I am just going to put my name And after filling all the information, it's gonna ask me for the address. So we are gonna put the address, etc. So I will put in all the information, and here you go. You need a number. 2. I will put the number, and you need the postal code as well. Okay, so we need the state as well. So, okay, so we'll remove the VAT ID. Okay, I will select USD. I will select and link my PayPal account later. And now it's asking me for a verification document. So I will complete the verification process and we will continue. So you just have to scan the QR code on the phone and verify. Okay, so I have completed the procedure on my mobile phone by clicking a picture of the IDs. And now, as you see, we are waiting for it to confirm. Okay, so our account has been verified successfully. We follow the prompts to update the ID, and we have to come on the data processing agreement and just agree to all the terms. Once we are done with that, we are now ready to go to our Hetzner console. So we'll go here and go to the Hetzner console. Now we are ready to create our new server. So we have the default project. We have our default project over here. We are going to click create resource and choose servers. We are going to take the cost optimized solution. We can take this, which is $399, or the x86 version, which is $349. So either one is okay. Both will do the same job. The ARM64 is the newer version. You have two locations to select from. You can choose either of them. So I will choose Helsinki. And here you have the image. So we have the Docker CE means Community Edition. So here we have our Docker Community Edition. So we are going to take this. So it will come with Docker pre-installed. Everything else is going to be standard. And we are going to name our instance n8n. And you will see our total cost is only $4.59 US per month, which is pretty negligible. So we are ready to create and buy now. So once we hit, it's going to go and send the command to the server. It will take a few seconds for it to provision the server. It's usually very quick. So another important thing is, which I would like to say is, we are doing this on Hetzner because Hetzner gives us the ability to deploy servers at $5 a piece US, and once we delete the server after a couple of days, it doesn't charge us for the full month. Whereas some other providers, they will lock you in and they will charge you. So you can pretty much set up a VPS with any provider. It works with any provider as such. So I'm just showing you with Hetzner because it's cost wise, it's very wise. So if you're testing it out, you want to test it, you can delete it. So you pay a few pennies. So if you divide $5 by 30, it's going to come very cheap, and you can delete it anytime. You can reprovision anytime. So yes, it's the cheapest provider out there. There may be more providers which do the same thing. So here we are. Our server is set up successfully. This is the IP address of the server, and now we are ready to log into our server. So before we log in, you will need a software called Puri. And I completely understand if this is not making sense to you. You are getting, you're getting overwhelmed with all this information. It's completely normal. Once we move forward, once we do it, yeah, it sounds pretty exhausting, but believe me, it's going to be well worth it if you stick around, and we will see. So we are going to need a software called Putty. So we are going to say download Putty for Windows. So we are going to Google it. It's usually on the first link. And here we are going to click download Putty. And here we need this particular version. So we will download this. And I have put it on my desktop. I have copied it on my desktop for easy access. So here is the software, which is Putty. So I will go to my desktop and access Putty. So I have downloaded Putty and put it on my desktop. So here it is. And now we are ready. So you should look out for an email from Hetzna. It's going to give you the IP address and the password. We can also get the IP from here, but the password you will get only over the email. So I will come in Putty and straight off the bat write the IP address over here. Port is default. We will give it a name. So we can say n8n hyphen Hetzna server. And we will hit the save. So the session is saved. Next time we come, and now we are ready to log in. So it's going to give you a message. This is not a security breach, it's just a warning that the key is not present on the server, which is completely fine. So the username is going to be root, and the password is going to be what you received on the email. So bear in mind, when you type the password over Putty, you won't see it typing like you would see in Windows. So, but rest assured, it's typed. You can copy the password and right click, and it's going to paste right into Putty. So here we are. So this is our first login. So I am going to put the password and say enter. And it's giving me a message that I have to change the password. So I'm going to put the same password again. That's the current password. And I'm going to put the new one. So please make sure you put a password you can remember, because it's going to be very, very difficult to reset the password later. So here we are. We have set up our server successfully. We are going to do docker ps. It's just a command to see docker is running or no, which is running. That is great. So now we are ready to set up the docker containers. And so what you need to do now is, before we set up the container, you will need a domain name. So you will need a domain name which you can use, which can be accessed over the internet. So if you already have an existing domain name, we can use that, or you can register a new domain through any of the providers. The cheapest provider I found is Cloudflare. So I'm going to show you how you can register a domain with Cloudflare. So it's going to be pretty much any domain name. It can be a .com, .net, .org, .cc. So any domain name, whatever is available, you can use it. So we are going to head over to cloudflare.com, and I already have a login, so I'm going to use that login. So I'm now inside my Cloudflare control panel. So you will need to create a new account to register the domain. So I'm over here. So I can register a domain, for example, n8n test.com. So I can come over here. Okay, it's not available, so it'll give you the various options and the price for that. So you can take any one you like. So once you hit confirm, follow the prompts, and it's going to register it. Now once your domain is registered, you will have to come on the domain registration page, manage the domain. So you will come over here to manage the domain. and update the DNS. Once you click update the DNS, you need to create an A record. So you will say A record and the website name you want for the n8n instance. So I want wf.mohammedshamsi.com. So I'm going to put that. The IP address is going to be the IP address of my n8n server. So I'm not going to say proxy, and I'm going to put some comment over here that this is for the n8n server setup, and I'm going to hit save. Wonderful. So I have my WF name set up. So we will need a couple of other names, which we will come back to later and do it. So you can do this pretty much with any provider. I am showing you with Cloudflare because Cloudflare is the cheapest domain provider I could find. If you already have a domain name, you can just do that. Simply add an A record on the DNS and point it, to the n8n server like that. It's completely fine. It's going to still work. So now heading back to Puri. Okay, so now what we are going to do is you have to go to the Udemy resources for this class and download the file docker compose.yml. So here's the file. So we are going to do some changes to the file before we actually take it to the server. So we have to come here. So you have to be very careful when you edit it. So here is my domain name. So I will write my domain name. So you remember the domain we registered. So you have to use the same domain name. So I'm going to just copy paste my domain name wherever is the domain name mentioned. So just make sure you do it right, because if you don't, your SSL certificate is not going to work as expected. So take your time, just make sure you do it. So here you are. So this is our n8n setting. So I know, I mean, it may not make sense to you, which is completely fine. However, you will make sense out of it. So at various places we have some passwords, so you can put your own passwords you like, whatever you want. So I'll just put an example over here. So post res 55, okay. Then you have to come on line 83, make sure your domain is correct, line 92, then line 97, then line 101, then line 105, then line 114. And here we have one more password. Here we have to put the same password we have put in the Postgres section. So you have to use the same password, otherwise it's going to fail. So this should be the same password as line number 58, which is fine. This password for Postgres authentication. Okay, so we are going to just traverse quickly through the file. We're going to go through it together. Here we have an email ID. I can put an email ID as well. This is for the logins we will need. And again, you have to put a password over here. I can put any password I want. So I will use this password for now. In here we have line number 151. Again, my domain name is mohammedshamsi.com. So this is mohammedshamsi.com. I already replaced that earlier. The key, we will leave it as it is. the password, the DB password again. I am going to put my email ID over here. That's my email ID. The DB password is again post Jurassic 755. So just keep it common. And here is the DB. And here is the domain name once more. So yeah, I mean, I completely get it. If you're doing it for the first time, it might be a little overwhelming for you, but believe me, it's going to be worth it when we go inside and when we actually start doing our stuff. Putting in the foundation is always the difficult task. So here we have, I think we have covered everything. We are ready to go. So we will save this file. Now you can edit this in Notepad. I'm using Notepad++ because it gives you some nice colors, some nice interface as well. So you can use Notepad or whatever editor you want. We'll make sure the tabs and everything are not disturbed, so they are as it is. So now we are ready. So we are going to copy this, Control A, Control C, or whatever way you want to do. Come back to our Docker container and write a command, nano docker slash compose.yml, and just right click. That's it. And Control X and say yes. And there you go. That's it. It's done. Now we are going to verify this. So we are going to say cat. So cat is like viewing in on the Ubuntu or the n8n server. So cat is viewing your file. So you see, you can view your file, whatever it is. So there you are. Okay, so everything looks great. So we are going to write clear. So it clears up the screen. Now we are in our Docker directory. There's one more file over here in the Udemy resources called Docker create volumes. So we will open that file and copy the command and just paste it over here and hit enter. And it will give you a prompt with 5 messages, which is fine. So now we are ready to spin up our Docker containers. So we are going to do docker compose up -d, and let's see what happens. Okay, so well done. So we have now got all the Docker containers ready and in action. Everything looks healthy. So Docker ps command will show you that it is healthy. Now we need to do one very important thing. We need to create one more A record, which we put in our Docker Compose file for DirectUs. So DirectUs is a wonderful piece of software. I will tell you more about that later. So here we are. We create the A record as usual, and we have this. So we need to first verify our A records. So what we will do is we will say ping wf mohammedshamsi.com, and it should point to our Hetzner server. So if you see, and press Control C to get out the command because it'll keep on running. So you see our server IP is 65.21.178.117. In the console, it is giving us the same IP. So which means our DNSA record is pointing successfully. And same thing we are going to try for the DirectUs instance, and there we are. So well done. If you have reached this far, you have successfully set up Docker, the self-hosted version, and you are ready to explore the world of AI agents. Okay, so now it's time for testing. So we will go to https://mohammedshamsi.com. This is the same URL you used in your Docker file over here. So this is our n8n URL. So here is the n8n URL. So we will just put this here. So here is your n8n URL. So we are going to simply copy this and paste it. Just make sure it is with HTTPS because it won't work with HTTP. And we are going to hit enter. And we are going to see, oh my god, this is amazing. Okay, we have successfully set up the n8n. So now we are going to set up our password. So please ensure you do not forget the password, because if you forget the password, it's going to be very difficult to restore it. So put a strong password, whatever you want, and hit next. And you can describe your stuff over here. IT, you can choose whatever you want pretty much. So basically n8n self-hosted is a very great setup. It's just, you know the license is pretty cool. So now if you give your license, it'll give you a license key on your email ID. So you can just put your email ID over here and send me a free license key. So it will send your license key, which is on the way. Okay, so you have successfully set up your n8n instance. So we are going to go to settings, we're going to usage and plans. Now, once you get the license keys, you will have to paste the key over here. So I'm waiting for my key to come in on the email. I have received my license key. I'm going to just quickly paste it, and it has activated the flow. Okay, so there you are. So we are on the latest version, which is 2.2.6 as of now. Okay, so now we have our playground ready. Okay, so the last thing we have to check is direct us. So my URL is directus.mohammedShamsi.com. This is the same URL we set in the docker-compose YML file. So I'm going to put my password here, and we are going to log in. And there we are. We have successfully set up our playground for AI agents. So if you have reached this far, many, many congratulations to you and well done. You have laid the foundation to explore the wonderful world of agentic AI. I will see you in the next class. Thank you.